Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2-year anniversary show of the Elite City Podcast. We have with us our special guest, Paul. Welcome, Paul. We also
Thanks.
You're welcome.
2 years we've been doing this, so we can't do an intro
Right.
show.
And we also have Rick, Janine, and Biddy. Hi, everybody.
Did you say Biddy and Biddy?
Rick, Janine, and Biddy.
Oh, okay.
What an intro.
That was good. It was
You're
professional.
It's great.
We should say sorry for not being here last week.
We should actually probably redo it, but we're not going to. So
No.
let's go.
Let's keep going. Power through it.
Yeah, why? We've never redone anything in the past. Why the hell
That's
do we
right.
start now?
Power through it.
Yeah,
Part of our charm.
exactly.
But yes, we weren't here last week because things happened.
Yeah, real life kind of hit everybody, so we just
There's
took a
all-
week off.
There's a lot
So-
of real life happening to everybody involved.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where we were. No, nothing exciting. No one was out like
But we
slaying
spent that
dragons.
time really honing down what we were going to say, so it's very professional.
Mhm. Yeah, I worked on that for 12 days. There's 94 edits, 1,100 pages. It's rough, but I'm glad it's over.
that's all a lie.
Okay, it was 1,300 pages. Anyways, bunch of wrestling happened. We learned a bunch of stuff for the pay-per-view coming up, and I don't know. Dynamite overall I thought it was a solid show. What did everybody else think?
I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
I really, it's not going to happen, but I really hope that Christian Cage starts claiming that he's Brian Cage's dad.
Oh man, that needs to
Because now that
happen.
he had Brian Cage help him out, now he
Right.
could be his dad. It would
That's
work. If he just started calling him his dad, I would go with it.
This is
incredible.
Brian Cage's dad dead?
Doesn't matter
Ah.
now. It's Christian anyway. He can just say
Right.
he's his dad. That's the power Christian
Right.
has.
Right.
If Christian tells you that he's your dad,
Brian
He just
Cage's
is.
dad will show up and you're like, I'm not dead, and he'll be like, shh.
no.
I
if
can
Chris-
still
if
hear him sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
not dead.
I'm here. I'm not dead. That actually would be really.
that would be funny. If
Yeah.
Christian just insisted his dad is dead and he's not.
His
He's like,
dad's
no,
there in the
he's
crowd.
right
and he's
beside
like,
me. I
I'm right
know.
here. I'm not dead.
Where?
Look, I know sometimes we all miss people when they're gone, but trust me.
That almost would be better if he actually is dead. Like, that'd be better. Like,
I think we've talked about this before, but I love that Christian made dead dads his gimmick.
Yes.
And it somehow works. Like, it's funny. And I
Yeah.
love it.
And nobody questions it, and
No.
it's it's like, so tell me about your father.
It's just effective. It just works. I really do wonder if it was on purpose or if he just meant to make fun of Jack Perry's dad and then it kind of snowballed. Or if at one point he decided, you know what? I'm going to make fun of everyone's dead dad. That's going to be my thing. Make fun of
True.
dad.
oh,
Remember when he cut that promo on Sean Spears right after his wife just gave birth, and he was like, so I hear you're a father now.
Yeah, and that was it. He didn't say
Yep.
anything else, but everyone's like, ooh, I know what you mean.
It's so good.
Foreshadowing.
And now Sean
And-
Spears is dead.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I guess let's take the time to give it up to Christian for finally living up to his potential that he couldn't do in WWE because of shit.
He got a
He's-
chance. He got a chance now, and he took it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been the freaking best. Look,
He's great.
I censored myself, but his run in AEW has been incredible.
Like, I know he's not going to win against Swerve, but I don't even
No.
care because he's doing such a good job.
Totally agree.
And it's gonna be, it's gonna be dope.
He's great.
gonna be
he's,
great.
He's just overall great. Huge fan.
Well,
100%.
and I feel, these people that are only WWE marks or whatever, they're not gonna appreciate this, but hell yeah, Christian's so fucking good.
That was awesome.
This is going well.
That was incredible on so many levels. I'm sorry, that was great.
I have nothing to contribute tonight.
Oh, that was wonderful.
I just have to say,
yes.
I tried wearing turtlenecks because of Christian Cage in the last semester, and I can't pull off the look. And so I think he also deserves credit for bringing back the turtleneck.
But did
The
you
only
do
other
it? Did you do it with no sleeves? You have to do like a cut. You have to
Right.
cut off the arm.
Well, I live
You
in
have to cut off the
Wisconsin, so
arm.
I can't. I probably
The
should have.
only other man who's ever been able to pull off turtlenecks looking good is Yarmer Yager. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Ron Francis.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
Didn't
I
Kevin
love,
Stevens also
I love
try?
Christian's reasoning too. Is that like if he took his shirt off, he'd be embarrassed too many people with how great he looked?
So
And,
good.
like, he honestly would, because I've seen photos of him with his shirt off.
Oh,
and he
he's
looks
shredded.
incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's
he's
incredible.
shredded. What? Okay. Rick, you brought this up on private chat. What are the chances that we see Gangrel before Copeland retires?
I think we have to, because I saw that article
100%.
today where he said that he wanted Gangrel in WWE, and they were like, "No one's gonna remember Gangrel. They're gonna remember the Brood, but for some reason they won't remember Gangrel," which makes no sense. But whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I want all three. I'm kind of mad that Matt Hardy's gone, because I don't want them to have a match, but I want there to be like at least a segment with Copeland and Christian and the Hardys, and that's not going to happen now. But
True.
they can have Gangrel. He can just like stand there and be less good than Christian and Copeland, because that's all he ever did. But he's cool. I like him.
Yeah. It has to happen. I mean,
Yeah, I think it has to. What else is he
I-
doing?
Directs porn.
Does he?
Yeah.
I thought he was also training people, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. We learned that we're going to get Anarchy in the arena at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The Elite versus Team AEW.
Now, while we're at it, I want to
Yeah.
say two things. First of all,
Do it.
what do people think of the name Team AEW? Because I think it's kind of lame.
Super lame.
Yeah, it's
Very lame.
Yeah. it
And
was-
I believe Paul has a name for the Elite that I think we all need to use from now on.
Why, thank you. The Nerd World Order.
it's
I
so
thought of
good.
that. Yeah.
It's perfect. It's the
so
perfect
good.
name.
It's so good.
They
So
should go
good.
with that, because it's perfect. It's exactly what they are. I love it. And this
Yeah.
is someone who likes the angle, but I think it fits them. It's perfect.
No, but they're the cool guys. They can't be new nerds.
Yeah, but they're
the
not.
cool
They're
guys.
not cool.
Yeah. Well,
They think
yeah,
they're
duh.
cool, but
Yeah,
they're not.
Right.
That's why it works.
I would love them like against their will. They end up nerd.
Isn't their whole thing like we're self-aware? So like,
Yeah.
make
Oh
that-
yeah, it's perfect.
Right, but being nerds, oh, they'd have a fit.
They could wink and nod at the audience and be like, "We all know this isn't real," and then
Right.
that's what they like to do. But I
Isn't
enjoy
that,
the
like,
angle.
Isn't that like part of the thing from like the Bullet Club was they called other people nerds?
I don't know. I wasn't following that.
Well, that was like way back.
Hmm.
So I thought.
Sounds like a Cody
could-
thing.
You could
Because
be
it was
right,
well, what's their names were in WWE, and they never tagged with Finn. They were always with AJ, old Bullet Club.
Oh, what's his name? Gallows and
Yeah.
Anderson?
Yeah,
yeah,
Luke.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
that
all
does sound
wanted
like
to be
them.
nerds. So I thought that was kind of like
Hmm.
ironic.
That does sound like them. You're right.
I didn't put this much thought into this, so I'll
Awesome.
but yeah. I was trying to give a word that began with N, and I couldn't think of anything. So
Well,
No, I think it's perfect.
It
Because
suits
they're kind of NW, like this takeover thing is kind of NWO-ish, but it's like the nerdy version of the NWO.
Right.
It's great.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's so good. It's perfect.
It's like a middle school production of NWO in 1996.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you mean
That's,
the
like,
South
pretty
Park
spot on.
episode of wrestling, literally?
Probably.
I think it works. Though I have been enjoying the angle. I will say I'm not generally a fan of the Young Bucks, but I've been enjoying the angle. I think it's been fun.
The angle's been great. It's been a lot of fun. And
I do wish they caused more chaos.
well, this is what I was just gonna I was just gonna say that's what they need to do. They need to like interrupt the show, like for like stupid reasons, like oh a match is they think a match is going on too long, just come out and just start talking during it or
Yeah.
something. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
They need to do
that,
stuff.
that
Oh, we have to take a commercial right now in the middle of someone's promo. Like I think they have to do stuff like that. That would
yes,
be fun.
that would be incredible. Like remember how like when they were first learning AEW was first learning TV, they would take those weird commercial breaks.
Yeah.
They should do that again.
Yeah, like Swerve is in the middle of a promo and they're just like, sorry, time for a commercial break, and they just cut. But then they cut, and when they come back, Swerve is not there anymore.
Is it weird that like when I watched the clip of like the Matt and Nick and Kenny, and they were like, oh, stay tuned, there's more to come, and I thought there was going to be like a commercial break because I was so like used to WWE and how it did that. And like
Yeah.
I was confused that like they kept going. I'm like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Also, we lost Biddy.
Oh yeah, she did leave. No, she just texted. She said she lost her internet.
Oh, all right. Well,
Mhm.
anyway, we're doing a podcast.
100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Anywho,
Anyway,
2 years of this. How about that?
I
That's
know.
so
fantastic.
can I bring up, speaking of
Yes.
the whole Nick and the Kenny thing? So do we all think that like Kenny's cleared more than he's letting on because he took such a
Yeah.
bump?
Has to
Mhm.
be.
He has to be. It's not like he'd come out and be like, "Oh no, actually, if I get hit, I might die." They're like, "Well, we're gonna hit you." Like that can't be. That can't be real. Or
Right,
they're
right.
they're incredibly reckless.
I at first, like when he was cutting the promo, was like really thought he was going to retire,
Yeah.
and then like you saw it like change into like a pro wrestling promo, if that makes
Mhm.
any sense.
If
Like
there's one thing
Yeah.
we're good at noticing is when a wrestling thing is a work.
100,000%.
We're very good at that. We've never been wrong.
Never,
No,
Never.
never.
ever.
We've never
ever,
spent
ever.
like the better part of a year saying something's a work
No,
and then
No.
had it turn out to not be a work.
no. I never once talked about it for 45 consecutive minutes. It was so damn sure of myself. Nope, that never happened.
Good times.
Uh,
So do we have questions? We're supposed to bring questions.
Yeah.
All right. Who's gonna
okay,
start?
so I have a question.
All right.
Yeah.
See, so Bruz, like where do you think this angle goes? Like, what's going to be the payoff for the nerd world order?
I think they have to like at least in storyline like lose their EVP power, but I don't know how they would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Like,
Kenny
there has to be
mentioned
some sort of payoff, like a match where if whoever wins, you lose your power, like
Right,
loser
and-
loses their
and
power or something.
Kenny mentioned he's also an EVP holder along with them with
Or
both.
they drag it out long enough that Cody's contract runs out and he comes back and he's like, I'm actually in charge. Like 3 years from now.
Oh my God, it's Cody Rhodes.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be funny. I would like that.
That'd be epic. How does it end? I don't know. That's a good question. Like you expect there to be a big fall, but they also don't play by the rules. Like
Right. So there's going to be
Mhm.
obviously, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be quite a few incidents where there's like, not clean, not clean finishes and such. So it's going to get pretty messy, if that makes sense. Does
Yeah.
that seem like that's what's going to happen?
oh
Like
yeah,
interference, a lot of messy finishes.
I think someone interferes in this Anarchy in the Arena. Like it's not gonna be I mean, it can't be a clean finish because there's no rules, but someone's
Right.
gonna show up and like cost Team AEW the match. Like
Right.
the Motor City Machine Guns or something
Mhm.
are gonna show up and like cost them the match, and then it'll have to keep going.
Yeah, I think this will drag out for a while.
Mhm.
Going to what Paul said earlier, do they just full blown become the NWO and just ruin everything for like not as long as the NWO did, but just say they picked like July and ruined literally every show AEW had in July?
Are they gonna have like 35 members?
No, but just do it like how like the NWO would invade, like when they were still small, but just literally, we have tickets or like stupid. Well, they wouldn't need tickets; they're EVPs, but like just literally take the whole show over. Like, no, that's not happening. You're not working tonight. Go home. Blah blah.
Yeah, I
blah.
would like them to do that more. That would be
Yeah.
fun
Mhm.
if they did that. I would enjoy that.
That I think they need to do that.
I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I tend to agree there's going to be either outside interference in the anarchy in the arena, or like somebody on Team AEW is going to turn and join.
I thought about that, but who would it be? It's not going to be Eddie Kingston. It's
Mm-mm.
not going to be Danielson. FTR? I don't think so.
It won't be.
Or someone comes out to help Team AEW and then turns on them.
I don't know though. Yeah.
But who would that be? Right? Like I think that's Hangman. I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do I dare say it?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Rick's favorite.
Oh,
Chris Jericho.
Only if he feels like this is like the hot angle that all the cool people are into, then he'll weasel his way into it.
Oh, he will absolutely insert himself.
As soon as this starts to become successful, he's gonna be like, "Hey, you know what? I'm involved."
Is that Judith I hear?
Speaking of which, I know his character is supposed to be like annoying and he like disingenuous, but like I actually don't like. It's not like when he comes out, I'm like, oh, he's gonna do an annoying. Like I actually don't want to see it. Like I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah,
and not like wrestling annoyed, where like I want to see what happens. I'm annoyed. Like this is not entertaining, and I don't want to see it.
I went and made food during his segment yesterday.
I think I fell asleep. I think it's the second week in a row where I fell asleep.
Yeah, I literally just left the room and went and microwaved some food.
Yeah, he's not doing well.
It's bad. It's so awful. Like it's not even like funny.
It seems like he's trying to work through it. You know how everyone's like, you need to take time off. He's like, no, I can keep going. I can power. Don't power through.
Yeah.
Don't power through this and be like, no, I can turn it around. No, you can't. You can't turn it around. It's just not good TV.
Just go do your tour with your band, man.
Yeah, you have a 100% excuse.
Yeah, like, and that's all he needs. Like, if he just went on a summer tour.
But his ego is so big. Nope. Yeah,
it's not good.
It's.
I don't want to do a whole Jericho thing again because
no.
No.
We can move on. We can move on. Rick, what's your question, sir?
Well, I have two questions.
Perfect.
One is kind of it's a more positive question. One is a slightly less positive question. I'm going to go with the positive question first. If you were doing, and I know that the people out there, possibly Paul, are going to nitpick my statement when I say, if you built like a Mount Rushmore of AEW, and I know Mount Rushmore doesn't mean for best or for most important, it means something else for Americans. But in my thinking, if you had to pick like the four most important AEW people in history, like wrestlers, not backstage, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of AEW?
Ooh.
Oh, this question's already problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, I'm not saying Mount Rushmore is good.
We know.
All right, thanks for the answers. That was good.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, give us a minute.
It was too good of a.
All right.
I have two, so hold on. So I'll just keep talking through it.
Just keep talk through them.
So are you talking? So all the entirety of AEW.
Yeah, the entirety of AEW. If you had to pick like the four most important wrestlers, not like Tony Khan, because like four most important on-screen wrestlers in AEW since it started. Who would you put on there?
As you think, to be fair, think about if Tony Khan was put on Mount Washington.
Were you gonna say Mount Washington?
Mount Washington. Forgive
okay.
me, I'm from Pittsburgh, but
well, that's all the excuse you need. Forgive me.
That is the only excuse, right? That is an excuse in itself. So it.
My point was, imagine a Tony Khan face on a face of a mountain.
He's just staring directly into the camera. Without, like, I know it's a carving, so it obviously won't be blinking, but you have to capture where he doesn't blink at all.
Just imagine that part.
Underneath, you're right. It's a great show tonight, folks.
I have my Mount Rushmore.
All right.
There's already an asterisk by it because I'm going to start with the Young Bucks, and there's 2 of them, and they're only taking 1 spot. So, so the Bucks, because I mean they
It's
are
like
tag team.
it's like half of each of their
Yeah.
faces
Yeah.
smushed
Correct.
together.
Yes,
Yeah.
mush them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'm down with that.
Then you have Britt Baker because Britt was at the time the like hottest rookie to like on the indies, and I mean I knew who she was because of Pittsburgh, but like the world needed to see who she was, and
Right.
like so I was stoked for that. And then the other 2 are more recent, and that's Danielson and Ospreay, because you don't pass up hiring Bryan Danielson when you own a wrestling company.
But if you ask the internet, you do pass that up because you want more time for, like, I don't know, John Silver.
Right. You ask the internet anything, and you get the opposite of what you want to hear. John Silver would say you hire Bryan Danielson over John Silver.
Right.
So just
Sorry,
saying.
Bryan Danielson. We have Colt Cabana. We have no need for you.
Yes. So yeah, those are mine because Ospreay's the future, Danielson's the present, and it's
I like it.
yeah. Those are my 4.
It's good. Who's next?
I'll go. I'm
All right.
a little biased in my answers. Obviously, yeah, Britt Baker's up there. I mean, a lot of the world knew who she was in the indies because of Adam, her now husband, when
True.
they were dating and he was in NXT. But like Blasco said, the world needed to see her because she's awesome for with women's wrestling. I also think you put Mox in there. Because I just love. I mean, he's just what a guy. And then I also say Kenny Omega, just because to me, I think Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world right now, just hands down. Even though we haven't seen it for a while, and he's probably a little rusty, but to me, I think he's the best. And then last but not least, it's probably gotta be Eddie Kingston for me.
Nice.
Eddie's just like, I especially after hearing his life, talk about his life and his past, and he's just, to me, I want Eddie for a life coach. I mean, just talk about a motivational speaker. It's
Eddie would be so mad at being a life coach. He'd be like, "Why am I doing this?"
Right.
He'd just be angry.
But I want
just suck it up, move on with your life.
I really want Eddie for like a life coach to get me through the tough days. Just really need him there.
Has anyone seen? I forget where it's from. It's from like a BTE episode or something, where when Eddie first started in AEW. I think it's BTE. They're just like, cut a promo on this candy bar.
Yes.
And he does, and it's good.
It's incredible.
He's just good at it.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I feel dirty saying candy bar. Sorry, it's an American thing.
What else would you call it?
What?
What do you call them?
Chocolate
What's
bar.
this?
But what if it doesn't have chocolate? Like, what if it's a payday with peanuts and caramel?
What does that mean?
They're all chocolate bars.
Wow.
Oh.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I am so confused.
All right.
I
Paul,
was
we
gonna
can pick Paul next.
Okay.
All right. So I was thinking, I know people say like Mount Rushmore, they mean like the 4 biggest, but I'm thinking Rushmore, and I'm like, there's always one person on there that doesn't totally deserve to be on there. Like, because I think of Teddy Roosevelt, and so I think you have to have, I would say Baker, Omega, either Mox or Kingston. I can't decide, because I think all 3 of them are incredibly important to AEW. But I think Jericho is going to weasel his way on there. So Jericho is my Teddy Roosevelt, and he'll somehow be the biggest face on the mountain.
See, I would say Jericho actually does deserve it.
He does. Yeah.
He legitimized.
Yeah, because he's annoying now, but like when he was there at the beginning, like it made it. It did legitimize it. Like
it's my Jericho hate is coming through.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, he was incredibly vital, and like when it first started, like he was one of the, I wouldn't say one of the few highlights or bright spots, but he seemed the most polished.
He brought a lot of draw too, because you had a lot of indie talent and a lot of people that didn't go, the the big pay-per-views in Vegas, a lot of people that don't know indie wrestling, they were like, "Oh, I know Chris Jericho," and that was a big draw for
Yeah.
a
Right.
lot of people that had
They had
watched
never
wrestling.
been on TV. They'd never done TV
Right.
wrestling. And
Yeah, like Jericho. There was at the first year of AEW, there was a huge difference between like Jericho and other people who like Cody who'd been on national TV, and
Mhm.
then people who hadn't. Like there was
Correct.
a significant
Yeah.
difference.
Right. Jericho was a
Jericho,
huge draw.
yeah, Jericho, no, not just a huge draw, but he like directed that shit.
He did.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he was important to it.
absolutely. He has the experience.
right.
100%. Sorry, I was writing something down.
All right, Biddy, you're 4.
Okay, so kind of makes me feel salty, but yeah, Jericho has to be up here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He's a huge part of AEW. That they got him right off the bat. He's been there from the start, and he's done a big part. So
Yeah.
I hate to feed into his ego, but
Paul's right. He would somehow insist that his head be bigger than all the rest of them.
right. A hot.
It
He'd
would
be like, for me, can we do the entire body? Just for me.
I almost made that joke, but I couldn't make it work.
Oh no.
He'd
He's
insist everyone else be
talented.
behind him somehow.
Anyway,
Number 2.
Mox. Mox is the goat. Mox was trying to take a vacation how many times, and they went back to Mox.
I think also because like he just left WWE right before
Yeah.
showing. He was there
No.
like a few months earlier, and then was in AEW. Like he was the first like person who jumped. Like
Oh,
Jericho
no,
was
and-
already out of WWE by the
Well, and if you guys have read his book, he was so done with WWE.
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
But he was one of the first people who actually made the choice to go to AEW. Not
Right.
just I'm leaving WWE because I'm leaving WWE. Like he chose to leave and go to AEW,
Well-
which was really cool.
Yeah, he gladly went to AEW, and when the CM Punk stuff happened, like
Yeah.
he's definitely up there.
Yeah, if when they had Punk drop the title like twice without losing, with like just because of injury or suspensions,
Oh,
like they
yeah.
needed someone to carry it and be stable, and he did that for sure.
Yeah,
And he did it wonderfully.
Yes.
yeah.
And
All right, number 3.
number 3.
Hey, so Rick, I think it's your Mount Rushmore.
I think it's me now.
Yeah, it is. I
I think
swinging back
Biddy's
around.
no longer with us. I'm gonna be controversial because
Perfect.
I'm not putting on any of the elite, even though that sounds dumb, because you kind of have to because their name is in the company. But I'm gonna say Jericho, Mox. We've already talked about Danielson because like he's an incredible wrestler and he was along with Punk. He was like the another high profile name that was like I'm leaving WWE
Yeah.
to come to AEW. Like he main evented WrestleMania and then was like, well, I'm done, and just left. And came to AEW and was immediately great at wrestling. And just like he legitimized it and made it.
That's the
Cool.
cool thing about him is it doesn't matter if you like WWE or if you don't. Everybody likes him. Like
he's so
regardless
good.
of regardless of where he went, you still liked him and you
Right.
like to watch him. So
Mhm.
And he's good at everything he's ended up in. Like he can do everything. He's great. The fourth one I was stuck on because I wanted to put Kenny Omega on because he's important and he's a great wrestler and if he was there I'd perfectly understand it. I'm gonna go off the board a little bit and I'm gonna
Okay.
go with MJF as my 4th pick
ooh,
That's a great pick.
Yeah,
Spicy.
it's a great pick.
That's a spicy pick.
because he's not only like the future of AEW, but he was like the first big guy
Mhm.
who wasn't known anywhere else. Like even
Right.
Hangman was known from Japan, or Kenny Omega was known from Japan.
Right.
That MJF was like an indie guy who no one really knew outside of people who followed indie wrestling.
Mhm.
Like no one saw him on a big stage on TV anywhere until AEW, and he grabbed the ball and ran with it and like became one of the top huge out of all the AEW champions. he was the only one who was not known at all, really, before AEW.
True.
That's a
Very
good point.
true.
That's a really good point.
So
It-
I'm gonna put him on there.
To bring up what you were saying, Rick, about like how nobody knew who MJF was, I literally thought he was a Rhodes because he just followed Cody around. Like
Yeah,
even in real, like
Yeah.
seriously, like even in real life, I was like, oh, he must be related to him.
yeah,
Because how would somebody unknown get that, like, I don't want to say high profile of a gig, but like I said, they were together outside of wrestling a lot.
yeah.
So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, they have to be related because how
Yeah.
would Cody not know this guy exists? You know?
It does feel weird to not put Cody on it because he was obviously
True.
important, but I'm not going to.
But see, I still go back to when we were saying like what Jericho did. Like, again, nothing against Cody, but at the time, Jericho, it's going to sound like I'm saying like Cody is awful and everything, but he's not. Like, we still had the taste of Stardust in our mouth. And
Yeah.
if you paid attention, you knew Cody went to Japan and he was this totally different thing.
Mhm.
But the masses still knew Cody Rhodes as Stardust.
It's kind of like that tweet that was like, "Oh, you're my favorite mid Carter, bro," and Cody's like, "Well, why do you still follow?" Or something. He was insulting Cody, and he's like,
Yeah.
"You still follow me?" And he's like, "Because you're my favorite mid Carter, bro." Because it's just Cody doesn't really like stand out other than the name. I mean,
Yeah. I do
he's
think
kind
that's
of there
true.
with everybody else.
I do think it was important. He was important in the sense that he was the most well-known guy of like the elite, I think, out of the four of them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It feels like I said, it feels weird to not consider the elite on my list of top four because they were the reason the company started.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like who else would you knock off?
That's a great list, though. I really like your list.
It's a wonderful list. Yeah.
Yeah, Cody
right.
is like, it's always weird to me because like he's so instrumental and then he leaves. And it's almost like it would be fascinating to like chart like how their characters and their wrestling has evolved, for those that were there initially, and now those like Cody that now is like a different stratosphere, right? But I don't have a point. I don't know where I was going with this.
Well,
He's definitely not like it's weird. He's definitely not the same. He's the same character he was in AEW, which is it's always funny to me, and not in a bad way. But like he got booed out of
Right.
the building
Right.
in AEW, and people threw his weight belt back at him. Like I watched once his last entrance in AEW and his first entrance in WWE, and the entrance is the same. He has the
Yeah.
same music, the
Uh-huh.
same intro, the same coming up from the elevator. It's identical. But in AEW, they hated it. And in WWE, they loved it. And it's the exact same guy. So that's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really interesting.
It's odd how it seems to work in one setting and not another.
Yeah. And like completely, it works completely well. Like he's super over and everyone loves him.
Yeah, it works
Mhm.
great in WWE.
But like he was so hated. It's funny. It's funny to think of.
Well,
Now-
it's like Mox like wasn't working in WWE. Like I would argue
Yeah.
as Ambrose,
True,
he never worked.
Mm-mm.
But he
And-
wasn't the exact same guy.
No. But like he's there were these elements of like the indie deathmatch wrestler that he started out as
Mhm.
in WWE. And I mean, I don't, the exploding television was probably his high watermark.
Are
But
you saying that him wearing a gas mask because the audience smelled was not good?
I am saying like there was it's subtle. It's subtle. It doesn't
The
quite
shot
work.
in his bum. The shot in his butt.
Yeah, getting shots because he's allergic. I don't know. What was he allergic to the audience? Like, what was
Something
it?
like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like how you just like you change the character a little bit and it works in one context and totally does not work in
Mhm.
other contexts. And
He
that's
didn't
my
get-
point.
he
That was
didn't
my
get. He
point.
didn't get to bite people in WWE.
That's true.
That is
He
true.
loves biting people.
Now, well, here's I'm gonna just pose a topic here of so we can argue about it. Now, do characters work in AEW if they're insanely over the top though? Like Tony Storm, Danhausen, like I mean, like you really don't have like indie quote characters, but if it's so over the top, why does that work? But a character like Cody doesn't. It's just I don't know, a little.
I think Cody took himself too seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he would have like gave the wink and the nod that to the camera
Yeah.
that you hate that the Bucks do. Okay.
As much as I hate when the Bucks do it, it was be better.
I
Cody,
think-
you
Cody
think it
took
would have been
himself too
accepted
seriously.
more. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Makes
what the
sense.
Bucks are doing now. Like it's all very tongue in cheek to make fun of themselves, and Cody just took himself too, like you said, too seriously.
Okay.
He couldn't look past it. You know, I get it, the whole thing with the legacy and his dad, and I think it's cool to do things like that. But you've got to make fun of yourself.
Wait. His dad was a wrestler? No one ever mentions that. What? Never came up.
I think with Danhausen and Tony Storm, it's different, right?
Well,
Because
Tony was totally different in WWE, also, wasn't she? Like she was just a
Yeah,
generic
yeah.
girl wrestler. It
Yeah.
was
I
nothing
just
going on
meant
with
that
her.
like that her gimmick is so like literally all of a sudden she
Mhm.
got hit in the head. And now she's this character that is
Mhm.
awesome.
It worked.
And everyone just goes with it. Oh yeah, she
Right.
thinks she's an old Hollywood starlet. Of course she does.
But I think they lean into the gimmick, and that's why it works. Like her and Danhausen, like they're like the thing I've always loved about Danhausen is the extent to which he plays that character. Like every time he's in public, he's wearing the makeup.
Yeah.
And
He's super in character all the time.
yes, and it works because like he doesn't actually believe he's a demon, but he plays it. You don't actually believe Tony Storm thinks she is
True.
30s star. The thing I don't like about the Bucks is like it's like that breaking the fourth wall thing that they've done. Like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We totally not wrestlers. You know, this is all play
Yeah,
acting.
like Danhausen doesn't go, I curse you, and then look at the camera and goes, I know the curse isn't actually effective. I'm just doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Like
sense.
you
I
know
understand.
that
I
in
get
the character of Danhausen, he thinks he's not actually cursing people, but he
Right.
doesn't come out and say that or let
Mhm.
that be known. Like the character of Danhausen fully believes that there is a curse.
True.
He doesn't believe it works, but he doesn't discount it. It's hard to explain, but
Yeah.
I
No,
get what you're saying.
I get it.
hmm
I bought Danhausen coffee recently.
Is it good?
I was gonna say, is it good?
It's a little bitter. It's a little
Okay.
bitter.
Interesting.
He seems a little bitter, so it works.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whose turn is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it my turn to answer or ask? I mean,
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
sick. Because mine's a big nerdy question, and Rick's gonna
Perfect.
appreciate it.
Perfect.
As an owner, Tony Khan built the roster obviously from literally nothing, but with him working in pro sports, is he more of an actual? Does he treat his job as more of a GM as opposed to like a wrestling promoter, where he knows that like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm a little weak in this area, maybe I should hire, you know, a low mid carder here, or this person's really not working when their contract's up or time to let them go. And it's like, is it always working as opposed to like, oh, I just need to fill this section right now?
I think
Hmm.
I think Tony Khan doesn't actually know what he wants to be or is. Because sometimes he
Interesting.
wants to be a wrestling promoter. He wants to come out and like, be obnoxious and make fun of the competition and take shots and like he wants to be wrestling promoter. And like, call WWE Harvey Weinstein and be like, and Dynamite's on this Wednesday. Like he wants to be
Right.
he wants to be a promoter. But then sometimes I think he wants to be the opposite of what we've seen in wrestling up until this time. He kind of wants to be like a general, like a sports general
Right.
manager. And yeah, I think that's kind of why it's a little weird, because I don't think he necessarily knows what he is or wants to be.
Interesting.
So I do think he needs to hire some more people to help him.
And he seems to be
various
more
ways.
open to that now.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like
Mhm.
even 6 months ago, he didn't seem that, I don't want to say open to it, but he didn't seem that gung ho about it.
Yeah,
Now
I
it
do
seems
feel like now he has like at least production people who are doing, like he's not running the show as much, in the sense that
Yeah.
he's not being like he has nothing. I'm assuming now he probably has nothing to do with like the lighting or the ring color or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not him anymore, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah. When he like wore all those hats, that was like, I mean, you got a patted person on the back for doing it, but like it's uncalled for in a billion-dollar company.
Yeah, even him, right? Like when he started writing the shows was like a good turning point for AEW. It was like after the first part, right through the first year or something. It was that the Dark Order angle, and then after that, he decided he was going to write all the shows himself, and it worked out well. But like, I don't think he can write Dynamite and Collision and Rampage. Like, I think that's too much stuff.
Yeah, totally, 100% too much stuff, especially with the 9 million other jobs that he has in real life.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's his weakness. That's where things fall through sometimes because he can't do everything. But you're right. Like in terms of roster, I think for a while it was just like for a while he hired wrestlers who were good wrestlers. Oh, Malachi Black's free. Of course I'm going to hire him. He's a great wrestler.
Right.
Keith
Right.
Lee, sure. Like, and they seemed like home runs, but not all of them worked out. And I think maybe now he's realized that no, I can't hire everybody. Like, yeah, if a Bryan Danielson or a Will Ospreay comes up, of course.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, you can't hire everybody because you have limited spaces to hire people. So if you hire this person, it means they get to be on TV over somebody else. So you can't hire everyone. I think he started to realize that more now than earlier. And I don't even blame him for earlier because WWE fired like 50 people, and they were all good. And you were like, no, I can't not hire them. I don't blame him.
Yeah. In that situation, that was like, to be perfectly honest, that was like a once in a lifetime situation. Like that's probably never going to happen again. Okay, that's a good point. I kind of agree with you. I think that I think he wants to be different, but I don't know if he wants to be too different where the wrestlers don't accept him, because wrestlers are weird and they somehow like can't fathom working in a place that's nice to them. I still don't understand that.
I think we also have to, and I sounds like an excuse, but we also kind of have to realize this company has been here for 5 years.
Right.
And it's obviously an established company now, but like when WWE books arenas, right? Like when they go across the country and they book arenas, like they probably have one guy who's booked arenas for however long,
right?
And they know, oh, it's super easy for them to book arenas and hotels or whatever because they've done it for 20 years. Like there's no one in AEW who's done that for that long. So
right,
like so. There's going to be stuff that even now, even 5 years in, will fall through the cracks because, oh yeah, we didn't know that we needed to do this. So we didn't know how much merchandise to bet. I mean, they should by now, but we didn't know how to, book appropriate sized arenas or judge the potential audience size, or like they're getting better, but
they are.
It's unrelated to your topic.
But, no, but it's okay. Jay,
I really have nothing to add to that. I think Rick nailed it.
It was very Rick centric.
If I talk long enough, I'm going to stumble upon the answer.
Yeah,
I just gotta keep going.
It was a great answer because I have nothing to add to that. I mean, Rick made really good points about wearing different hats, and it's this production obviously hasn't been as long as WWE, and things are going to fall through the cracks until you get the right people and you have a system that flows really well for a while, and then that starts to become,
And obviously he was thrown off. Like Cody leaving probably threw him off. The whole Punk thing threw him off, right? Like it was not. I'm assuming it's not easy when, especially like someone like Cody, because he was a founding member and he was also he helped run the company, and then he just leaves, and I don't know if they have like succession plans in there. Like who I have no idea. So,
and in that whole situation, the person that was, well, Cody was very professional through the whole thing too, but Dustin was like probably the most underlooked in this whole thing, because he could have been like a jerk about it, like, oh, they didn't offer my brother what he wanted, so he had to leave, so I'm gonna leave too. You know what I mean? Like he could have, or sold off his stake in the training program that, I mean, they basically use the Rhodes Academy as their development. So like that was kudos to Dustin for doing that.
Then there was that
actually.
whole weird thing where QT Marshall left, and then like 2 months later, he was like, actually, and just came back.
See, I think I just have a weird conspiracy theory. I have nothing to back this up other than myself. I think what happened is Cody tried to pull him into WWE, and they were going to use QT as a trainer. And I think either Triple H or Michaels is like, no, no, no. And then all of a sudden he came back, and AEW like signed them to be their training company again.
Yeah.
So it was just weird. But you're
Yeah.
right. That was like that 2.5 week span. But something like that had to happen.
I feel like that's a thing where he showed up. Cody's comes into Triple H, and Shawn Michaels is like, "Hey, QT is going to teach," and Shawn Michaels is like, "I'm Shawn Michaels." So,
Right. Yeah. So that's
no.
not happening.
So that's not going to happen.
QT just walks in, and just turns around and walks back out. See you guys.
Grandpa Simpson's
Yep.
in right
I
now.
was just gonna say it's the Grandpa Simpson. Yeah.
Yep. Just gets back on the plane, goes back to AEW. Are you guys hiring?
I've heard a lot of good things. Paul, your turn.
Yeah.
I think Tony needs to take a page from the greatest GM in all of sports history, Ron Hextall. And
Nice.
Betrayal.
He needs to go work for a rival company and totally tank them. All
and
right.
totally fuck him up. Yeah, exactly.
Completely.
I've been listening. I've been eating my dinner and listening, and then you say that.
Vinny won't stand for this.
Hey,
How
Paul,
dare you?
go sell ice cream.
What was my question?
Tony
don't-
Khan,
I think-
he's running stuff.
Yeah, I think Rick really hit it on the head, and I would be fascinated to get into Tony Khan's brain and yeah, like are you? I wonder too. Like the NFL has a very rigid salary cap structure, and if that's the bad model, right, for how to run a wrestling organization, right, that you have the complete, I guess the opposite, like you have no limitations, right? There
True.
is no, like you you don't have to like adhere to like a strict salary cap, and like you can just, as Rick said, like anybody comes on the market. I think Tony's approach was, I'm going to get that person, and that doesn't work, necessarily.
Right.
It also reminds me, like, how Vince operated in the 1980s, like, and everybody from every territory was poached by McMahon, and so I think he had like a GM's mindset, but also a Vince
I'm
McMahon
pretty
mindset.
sure Vince McMahon created everything himself.
That's right. That's right.
No,
Several
no.
documentaries that
Hey,
told you that he was a
Stephanie-
genius.
Stephanie McMahon invented women's wrestling. Thank you
That's
very
right.
much.
And Vince ran a small local business and managed to turn it into a massive corporation, despite Ted Turner underhandedly stealing all of his creations, something Vince McMahon would never have done.
He pulled himself up by his bootstraps.
That's right.
Right.
Well, they're his dad's bootstraps, but the point being,
Correct.
But yes, I agree with you.
I concur.
That does. Oh, sorry, Jay has a question. I have a second question, but I'm going to let Jay go first.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's not as cool. It kind of backs on some stuff we've done in the past where we talked about like what would be your entrance and all that kind of stuff. So mine is a little more like I know we talked about like what would be your music and what like would be your like your persona. But
I
I'm
think
more
Paul
of like
wants to answer that question. By the way, he was in
what?
here
Mhm.
last
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What would your music be, Paul? And your persona, like your character.
I would be like a way nastier version of Dean Douglas in WWE,
Nice.
and I think
Would you
my
still have a
entrance.
chalkboard?
No, it'd be a whiteboard
Oh,
because you got to keep up with the
2024.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids wouldn't know what a chalkboard was.
No,
Come
they
on.
don't
sure.
know. Geez, I don't know. Entrance music though. I used to say like it would be "Look Out Mountain" by Drive By Truckers.
Oh, we were like best friends, dude.
Yeah.
That's like-
Or "Rhymin' and
Oh.
Stealin' by the Beastie Boys. I think
Ooh,
those would be my two.
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
great songs
So-
all around.
So
So
what's your
mine.
finishing move?
Oh yeah, your finishing move.
What I messaged it to Rick. It's going to be like a hybrid pedigree, but I call it reviewer number 2, and very, very, very professor joke. So yeah,
Very nice.
That's amazing.
yeah. Thank you.
So my question kind of piggybacks on that. What would be like, because like Ric Flair has the robe, and you've got like everybody kind of has like their signature thing, part of their outfit, their accessory. Like Brett had the glasses. You know what I mean? Like, so what would be everybody's like choice accessory or fashion item, or like your look, like that kind of like is your thing?
It's a good one.
That's a great question.
I think last time I said my gimmick was just a guy who's like not good at wrestling, and somehow ended up there, and everyone just hates him because like I don't know why he's here, but like somehow I'd win matches. So my thing would have to be something that the audience would hate. My first thought was like a laptop or something, but wrestling fans are nerds, so they'd like that.
Yeah.
It would have to be something they wouldn't like. Like it couldn't be attached to wrestling.
Right.
What's like the anti-wrestling? I'd have to have that.
Or would you get like
I think
it's like sports entertainment count?
Oh,
I think it'd be like dice. It'd be dice.
It'd be dice. No, that's too nerdy. It would have to be like
True.
It'd have to be somehow not nerdy, but also not aggressive, because my character is also not aggressive. So it'd have to be like, I don't know, like not even a book. It'd have to be something, I
teddy
don't know.
bear, like a stuffed animal.
French
Yeah,
a
stuffed
French
animal
press.
maybe.
Nah,
Stuffed animal of some sort.
That's too soft.
Yeah, maybe that's too soft. You're
French
right.
press. You need a French press.
Yeah, a French press.
French press.
That would be great.
What if you had like the headgear in amateur wrestling, like Michael Cole had for that terrible match? Because if you don't know how to wrestle, like you might think it's like actually amateur wrestling.
Right.
True.
Yeah, that'd be good. I also I think I saw someone say this unrelated really, but I saw someone say once that there should be a character who in wrestling thinks wrestling is fake, but then to him it's real. Like he shows up and he's like, I don't have to know how to do this. This is all fake. And then he goes and just gets beaten up.
And he's standing there like,
yeah, he's like, wait a second, I thought this was all fake. And they just like beat the hell out of him.
There's an episode of It's Always Sunny about exactly that.
That is
that'd be good.
exactly, yes. I'm
I would
the
love
trash man.
Well, yeah, when Frank Reynolds is a trash man.
That would be good.
He
Told you this shit was real.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
There's
That'd be
the
fun.
garbage can at Cricket and busts his throat open.
Trash all over the ring, and then
There you
it's
go.
garbage.
I've never really watched that show. I feel
Oh.
like I should.
Oh, Rick.
Oh,
come
you
on.
go,
You'll
Rick. You
love
gotta.
it.
Yeah.
Start at season 1 and they're all incredible.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a little slow until season 2 when Frank gets in.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it really takes off.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But you
gotta
have to watch the wrestling episode because it has Roddy
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
And he
Yeah.
plays an amazing character.
Yeah. The maniac.
The maniac, yes. Oh, so you don't know about Birds of War? Jeez.
I don't know anything.
Rock, flag, and eagle.
Oh, jeez.
You're making me feel left out now, guys.
Sorry.
Oh, Birds-
That's what I think about your $15 copay.
oh, man.
All right, we should just end the podcast now, and pay
Right.
for Rick to go watch Always
Right.
Sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the rest of you have to have accessories. I want to know what they are.
Ooh.
Let's see. I'm trying to
I feel
think.
like, I feel like the professor one has to have like a syllabus or something.
Yeah, like I feel like I was thinking blazer, like it's just a really like low key blazer with leather patches on the
I was gonna say the
elbows.
leather patches.
Oh, yeah, you
That
need
yeah,
that. You need
leather
the
yeah.
leather
Have
patch.
it.
It has to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, that's good.
And like my catchphrase could be, "It's on the syllabus, jerks," and just like
100%.
But I need a clipboard. I think I need a clipboard or something that, like, Bad News Barrett.
Jericho's already suing you for.
Oh
giving
God,
infringement.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
We
Never
need to
mind.
haul
Never
out one
mind.
of those. Do you remember, like, way back before we had, all the smart screens and all that in classrooms? The big old like light overhead projectors.
Yes, with the little with like the clear
little arm.
sheets. that you put
Yes.
on.
Yeah, and they had like the roll of the clear sheets that just kept like
Yes.
getting worse and worse. You need to haul one of those out.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't have a roll. We just had like pieces of clear sheets.
We had
that you put
pieces
on.
of-
You know, we had the
Yeah.
we had the ones with like the rolls. There was you could just like erase it and roll it up for keep
Oh,
going.
we never had that.
Make notes upon
Oh,
notes upon
You
notes.
went to
Yeah.
you went to a fancy school, I see.
Oh
That
no,
would
these
be-
were old. Because
That's
the more they
sweet.
used them, the more they got beat up, and like the plastic just looked so grungy.
Yeah.
Ours had like once in a while they'd put down like one that was printed, and then they put another sheet on top of it with like
was like-
corrections or something to show you, or like the answers. Like it would be like the math problems, and then they put another sheet on top that had the answers to the math problems, and like you had to position it properly so that you could see
Right.
it.
And then half of the time you couldn't read the handwriting either.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just-
Everyone under 35 just turned off this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one under 35 listens to us. It's fine.
That is
We
true.
have-
Our
we
core.
have we have
yeah.
the analytics.
Yeah. Our
Our core
core
audience is like 40-year-old.
1000% understand all of that.
Yeah.
That's the analytics do not lie. Everybody will be so stoked.
Laura's gonna
Wow.
listen to this and be like, "Oh my god, you guys," because she's a teacher.
Yeah. My niece and nephew will have no idea what happened during that 10 minutes, but everybody else. Oh man, like now what would your entrance music be? It would have to be like your alma mater, right? From your college? It would have to be.
Who?
Oh.
Me?
Oh, as a professor?
Yeah,
like as a professor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Geez.
Or have like a marching band or something.
Yeah.
Because like the perfect one would be Pomp and Circumstance, but that
Obviously, yeah.
The
Yeah,
good thing is
but-
no one's ever used that.
Right.
no one's ever used that before. Yeah, like some alma mater like fight song could work. Yeah, that I think that's the way to go.
And then well, you could take it a step further. Every town you're in, the local college is like you just have whatever, find out whatever their rival is and come out to their song.
Yeah, and then you could
Best deal ever.
then you could turn face and start using their songs instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it works both ways.
It does. It does.
Great.
Oh, that's sick.
Or I could come out. You know what? I could also wear like the old timey vintage sweaters, like the oh god, they had like
Oh, like the
collar.
sweater
they
vest.
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah.
letter on it. Yeah.
Yeah, the letter sweaters, but just like the
Yeah.
arch rival of the
Oh,
local
yeah.
local
Oh,
school.
that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
It's a good gimmick.
That would be.
What about you, Josh? What would be your
I'd basically just be Brody King because that's me in real life, and
mhm.
I'm into all that stuff. I look that. Well, I mean, he's way bigger than me, and I'm no way in any sort of shape.
Yeah, but you're like a really big dude.
And you look scary.
Yeah.
That's why I'd buy into that. But I'm not a scary person at all. But yeah, I would do that. I mean, I'd probably make it a little more like on the punk rock side as opposed to the metal side. And I don't know why. Just maybe to be even a little different. Yeah, that would be me. As
Good.
far as my accessory,
Can't be a cast. Brody King's got that one too.
no,
There's no way his hand is still broken, right? That's the thing now.
I heard him and Cowboy Bob Orton had the same doctor.
CM Punk broke Bob Orton's hand too somehow. Also CM Punk's fault.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd bring to the ring.
It could even be something you'd wear too. Like you're like I said, like, the sunglasses or Ric Flair's
Oh,
robes,
okay.
or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it could even be something you would wear, like your like
I'd wear my-
fashion icon.
I'd wear my vest that I wear to shows that exists. So yeah, I just wear clothes that I normally wear that would serve as my wrestling attire.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, I'm committed to the scene. So yeah, yeah, that's a true story.
There you go.
I own a battle vest. Yeah.
Does it
I have a
smell like
leather-
Otto's jacket?
That smells like utter hell. If we're being perfectly honest, yeah. It's about a decade old. It's never been washed.
Ugh.
Yeah.
how would you wash a battle vest? I mean,
That is true.
but
Many hours of sweat in that thing.
I've been to many a shows in dark, dingy, smoky places that I would not step foot in today.
Yeah, that would be me. That's what and I'd wear my battle
Okay.
vest.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Is that everything? Does anybody have any other question?
Well, we were talking about everything, just Tony Khan and how everything's being run. Is that a cat or a siren?
That was a siren.
That's a siren. That's
Okay.
a siren.
I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if it was like an upset cat. But
I
anyway,
thought, yeah, for sure that was a cat.
yeah.
Well, because of budget cuts here in Milwaukee, they have to use cats as sirens now. So
Makes sense.
You just have a firefighter on the back of the truck, just like aggravating a cat.
yeah,
No, it's
using
just-
it, cranking its tail like an old timey siren. Yeah.
No, it's just a firefighter in the back of the truck going, "Meow."
All right, here's my thing.
Yeah.
We don't really talk about like ratings or anything on this show because we don't know what we're talking about, so why bother? But
Mhm.
obviously, if anyone's paid attention, like ratings for AEW are not what they were in like 2021. Of course, TV is TV, so TV is not what it was in 2021.
True.
Mhm.
But what my question is in 2021, around the time when like Punk and Adam Cole and Danielson and everybody showed up, it was like, oh, this is a competitor to WWE, not just another company. It's a competitor.
Mhm.
Do you see it as a competitor now? If so, how? And if not, will it ever be?
I'll go first because mine's very easy. No, because I think they're now officially two separate things. I think AEW now sees its place, and it's definitely a I can't think of the word. They just want to be different. They want to be a like different flavor.
They're like
and
standalone, like a standalone.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And WWE, I mean, Rick, I think I told you a couple weeks back, I saw like the best tweet. Somebody said that WWE is the McDonald's of wrestling and AEW is like your local corner diner, just
Yeah.
meaning that anything WWE is so formulaic. You know, if you go to Minnesota and get a Big Mac, it tastes like it does in Pittsburgh.
Right.
So they're going to send their people through teach them their style and, you know, turn them into who they want them to be. Whereas AEW is going to hire a person that came up from the indies and made their own character, and maybe they'll tweak it a little bit here and there, but they'll be more established on their own and be able to prosper when there's no room for them left in AEW. Whereas WWE, like I'm gonna feel bad for the first person that leaves WWE that flops in AEW because I hate the word, but because they're a sports entertainer and they're just not gonna understand how it works because they were taught wrong. And that will happen eventually.
They were taught to be good in WWE.
Yeah, I shouldn't say taught
Yeah.
wrong. They were taught to be a WWE wrestler, and that
Right.
will happen eventually.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they're a competitor because they're two totally separate entities, in my opinion.
That makes sense.
So
I
whoever wants
guess
to-
I guess to kind of like jump on that in a way, my answer is kind of the same. Like, no, I don't think there will ever be true competition to WWE just because it's similar to what you said. Like WWE is McDonald's. It is everywhere. It is ingrained. You know, it has been
Yeah.
a staple for so long. And even if AEW wasn't trying to do its own thing, I don't think it could be competitive unless WWE started breaking down and things like that. Like it's like you said, they're two totally different entities.
I saw somewhere Vince McMahon owned like 5% of stock and sold it and made like $10 billion. Like he
Right,
made,
like,
it's insane.
Stupid money. It's just a stupid big company with stupid big money. It's just you can't compete with that. It's almost a monopoly. You know, Vince tried to scoop up all the wrestling programming for years, and you know, just kind of how do you compete with that in a sense?
They've made millions of dollars while we recorded this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was a point in 2021, I know we had talked about this before, that it felt like there could be the foundation for maybe not WCW, but something WCW light
Mhm.
that would be a very viable option, that would get eyeballs and get the PR and get the a bigger share of the wrestling audience. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, and I think I'm sorry. I think AEW is, if you think of the WWE as like the NFL,
Mhm.
the AEW is, I guess that's, I'm sure there's not really a parallel to the NFL. Um,
The NCAA. We'll say they're college football.
not even that. Maybe the
Low
CFL.
tier soccer. Low tier soccer.
Yeah.
It's incredibly niche.
Yeah, like okay, like
Yeah.
if okay, I'll revise the metaphor here. If AEW or WWE is the Premier League, then AEW is like the USL or something in the
Even lower
United
than
States.
USL,
Yeah.
even lower. Yeah.
And I think it
Okay.
is, if it keeps if it maintains what it is, I think that's fine. It would take like a massive like economic depression or something, like the WWE completely like bottoms out or something.
Right.
But I don't see that happening. And I think, yeah, I think AEW, if that's their attempt to, if they're just like trying to sustain, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it doesn't have to be like, oh, they either compete with WWE or they fail. I don't think they have to be either of those things. I think they can just be like a
Right.
company that's smaller and still in their own right successful, but not like they can kind of compete with WWE for like pay. Like they can compete with them as wrestlers sort of, because they could pay probably a similar amount. I don't know, but they can probably pay a similar amount to a wrestler from. So they're not exactly
Absolutely.
like a smaller tier league, because like you can make probably just as much money wrestling for AEW than you could wrestling
Yeah.
for WWE.
Yeah.
But
And
the
maybe
exposure is
let's,
significantly smaller.
yeah, it's not like, and maybe it's if you're comparing the NFL to like the Canadian League or something like that,
Right.
right? Like it's like you can pay a
Right.
similar salary.
Right.
But you're never
But
gonna. 2021 was kind of like the perfect storm for AEW, because WWE was, first of all, had been so bad for so long,
Yeah.
and then there was the pandemic, and they were bad at running wrestling shows, and all the Vince McMahon stuff came out, and then like they did look like fools for a while, where they're like, they forgot Malachi Black's contract expired, like they looked like idiots for a little bit, and then they correctly were like, no, we're the largest thing that's ever been a thing, we can just be better, and then they did.
Mhm.
But it was a fun like 6 months in there when you thought it was going to happen.
yeah.
I mean,
And I never, and by it going to happen, I never meant like, oh, they're going to run WWE out of business, because that's
right.
impossible.
Oh, that's yeah.
Like you can't, like it's impossible. That's never happening.
The
But
only
there was like a period there where we thought like, oh, they're going to be a viable number two. Like they're going to be just as well known as WWE. Maybe fewer people watch them, but everyone who watches wrestling will know who they are. Whereas like that's not necessarily the case now.
Yeah.
And again, you're comparing this to a company that's only been around 5 years. I mean, that might change. They might still be as small, but in 5 years, more people might know who they are, if
Right.
that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of a
They still have room to grow, essentially.
yeah, absolutely. Does anybody have anything else before we go?
It's been a fun 2 years.
It's been a very fun 2 years.
Also, only 3 to 5 people will care about this, but this was our Wrestling Shame reunion. We had a website called Wrestling Shame for a while.
Yeah.
We had a website called Wrestling Shame that's still there if you want to read us trying to enjoy like 2018 WWE or 2017 WWE, which was the worst television I've ever seen. If you want to read people trying to enjoy that, there's a website.
And it alternates between us trying to do that and then Rick and I and Jay like desperately trying to come up with something funny. And
Like the Roman Poochie thing.
I still have the T-shirt. It's somewhere.
Where's Poochie?
Roman died on his way to his home planet.
Yeah, we had to nix that after the cancer thing.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, like the still, I think the most read thing I have ever done is my history of the Nazi gimmick in pro wrestling that I
That was
did
a very
for wrestling.
successful article. It
That
still gets
was,
hit.
yeah.
I don't know how, but it does.
I think we know why it hit because yeah.
A lot of people are Googling Nazi wrestling apparently.
That's insane. Anyway.
But yes, it's been 2 years. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been here for a short ride, but I've really enjoyed every time I've been on. It's been fun.
And we've had Biddy for a year because Biddy came at our 1 year. So
that's true.
We've had a year of Biddy.
Oh, I thought she was going to come back.
chime in, but she didn't.
Yeah, nope.
Nothing.
Anyways, yeah, it's been fun. Everybody make sure to like, subscribe, and share. We are at Elite City Pod on all social media. Check us out. And, it's been fun. We're here every week. So until next week, later.